And as always, super excited to roll into this next conversation with you all. Our guest speakers have 30 minutes to give you the rundown to help as much as they can. I know they're coming with a lot of knowledge and power, so get your notebooks out, get a fast pen, and of course, be ready to rewatch this and share this with your community as you see fit. So before we jump into today's conversation, just want to go over some quick housekeeping so that everyone feels comfortable and confident in this next 30 minutes here. So of course, we would love for you to participate. You can participate in a number of ways. You can turn your cameras on if you feel called to do so. I know that video fatigue is real, so no pressure there, no shame if you don't want to turn your cameras on, but I know some people might need that extended invitation. So feel free to turn cameras on if you feel called to do so. Otherwise, go ahead and write any questions or reflections in the chat box. Also, any tips and tricks of your own. We want to use this time to try to build meaningful connections here live with you all. So feel free to use the chat box at your leisure there. If anyone wants to hop off mute at any point, just let me know by raising your emoji hand, or you can drop in the chat as well, letting me know that you'd like to hop off mute, and I will give you permission to do so if time allows. Now, if anyone hops off mute at any point, you will be featured in our live recording as this is being recorded. And this is just a friendly reminder as well. If you signed up for this chat, be looking out for a rewatch email that will include a link to this recorded session and any extra notes or links to resources that our guest speakers might mention throughout the half hour so that you can easily access them there. So be looking out for the rewatch email if you signed up for this conversation. And if anyone throughout this chat, if you have any sensitive information and you prefer to be kept anonymous, you can find me in the chat under Mariella Marie, and you can write to me privately there. Then I will raise your question or your reflection to our guest speakers and keep you anonymous. So just wanted to also extend that invitation to write to me privately if you'd like to do so. Now, the last thing I'll say is we'd love for you to follow Power to Fly on socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can keep up with all the great chats we've got in store for you all. Now, I usually take time to introduce myself, but because we've got 30 minutes on this chat, and I know that we've got two guest speakers here who are going to drop a lot of knowledge, I'm just going to pass the mic now to Natalia, who's calling from DC, if I'm not mistaken. Natalia, let us know a little bit about yourself and what you're excited to share with us today. Thank you for being here as well.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me here. I am excited to be here. My name is Natalia, and I'm a public affairs specialist with the TOPE branch at the IRS, and that stands for the Tax Outreach Partnership in Education. And where our goal is to just reach out to non-traditional taxpayers to assist them in learning about tax initiatives that might affect you, the audience. We advise you about efficient filing, scam awareness, fraud, just things that the communities or facilitators like you find that your communities need to know about. And that's what we're here for. You're correct. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. This is about outreach. This is about education. I'm an educator by trade. And this is just amazing to be able to share topics with people that they need to know, but sometimes steer away from, so that you can know that we can break it down so that we can all understand it a little bit better. So I am excited to be here for this.
Awesome. I love that you're an educator at heart. So I'm really excited to hear your responses to some of the questions that folks have submitted previous to the conversation. But before we roll into questions, Priscilla, who is calling from Phoenix, Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, let us know a little bit about yourself and what you're excited to share with us today. Also, thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely, and thank you, Mariela, for having me here, for having us here. And yes, I am, as Natalia said, I am her colleague as well, and I am with Tax Outreach Partnership Education with the IRS. And we do reach out to people, try to educate them as much as we can. We know that taxes are not the easiest thing to understand, but we're here to facilitate it for you and help you understand them a little bit better. I will allow Natalia to go ahead and provide the presentation. I will jump in as necessary. And again, thank you so much for having us here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And before we roll into our presentation, just want to set the stage for today's key takeaways, as I know a lot of folks have submitted some questions previous to this conversation. So can you, Natalia, just go over the key takeaways for today's conversation, just to help us set the stage before you go into your presentation?
Right. So I'm going to touch on filing for deadlines, gathering the proper documents, free tax prep help, and available tax credits.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I pass the mic now to both of you. Please take it away and just let me know when you're ready to jump into some of the questions, even though I know that you all are covering lots of the questions in your presentation today.
Okay, then I'll start off. I'm happy to be here to share this information, especially as we are 6 days away from the tax season deadline, the 2022 deadline. You do still have time, but if you already know you might not make that deadline, I'm going to share with you some things that you can take with you to keep for yourself for accurate filing throughout about extensions and information that you might need. So today I'm going to share those 4 topics, and I'm going to say them again. They are filing for deadlines, gathering the proper documents, free tax prep help, and available tax credits. All right. So when we talk about the filing deadline, which we know it is midnight on April 18th, and we're usually hearing that it's the 15th, but this year it falls on the 15th, falls on Emancipation Day, and that's a little known holiday, unfortunately, that many DC offices do recognize. So when that happens, especially when it's on a Friday, we move the deadline to that Monday, the 18th. So you got a couple extra days if you're not ready, if you didn't get it together yet. There are 3 states, and I want to make it clear because we're calling from all over the place, that have an exception to that 18th deadline. And they are Maine, Massachusetts, and Wisconsin. They have to file on the 19th. They have until the 19th to file instead of the 18th. And that's due to their observances of Patriots Day. All other taxpayers who need to file for an extension need to make that request by their April deadlines. That's going to be the 18th or the 19th, depending if you're in those 3 states. And they'll have until until October 17th to file. Okay, so since I started off talking about the extensions and deadlines, and since we're at that point of figuring out if we need an extension because we're at the deadline almost, I'm going to give you a little more information on that. If you want to file for an extension, you can use Free File. It's on the IRS site, or you can call 1-800-829-1040. That's 1-800-829-1040 to request to file for an extension. Now, this is the important message, and you can weigh this as you figure out why you're filing for an extension. The extension is to file, and it's an extension to file, it's not an extension to pay. So just because you're putting in the extension, it doesn't mean if you don't owe, you get longer to pay. You still have to pay by the deadlines. And it requires, let me slow down. The request for an extension provides extra time for you to file your tax return. It doesn't require the extra time to pay any taxes that you owe, and the payments are still due by that original deadline, like I just said, but the taxpayers should file even if they can't pay the full amount. That's important to know. By filing either a return on time or requesting an extension by the 18th or that 19th filing deadline, you are going to avoid late filing penalties, which can be literally 10 times as costly as the penalty for not paying. So if you pay as much as you can by the due date, you're going to reduce your overall amount subject to the penalty and interest charges. But the interest rate is currently 4% per year compounded daily. So don't try to avoid it. Don't think that's going to make you avoid anything. Just know you still will have to pay. The IRS is going to work with you. If you can't pay the full amount that you owe, most people can set up a payment plan on irs.gov to pay off their balance over time. To file for an extension, here's an important form that you need to know. And this is what most people fall under. You're going to need a 4846. And that's if you're an individual. And that's including, when we say individual, it just means it can be a couple filing jointly. It's just a regular person who's not a business. If you are a business, you fill out the 7004. And if you're a corporation, you're going to fill out the 1138. And these forms can all be found by just Googling them or going to www.irs.gov and typing the document number in the search engine. And if you're not sure if you have what you need to even attempt to file, and that's one of the problems that people have, and it's a real problem. It's a real issue. We don't come out. Unfortunately, we're not taught very much about this. We have to learn it as we go. And sometimes we avoid it because we don't have what we need. There are documents that come in the mail that you should hold on to file completely and accurately. And you think about it this way. Most of us aren't getting excited to go to pay our taxes or file for taxes or anything like that. It's not, ooh, it's tax season, let's make this happen. So make sure when you go, you have the right documents so you're not redoing it or re-upping on something or trying to fix something. So in gathering the right documents, I'll give you an example. There's this old television show that I watched from the 70s, and I am really guilty of this, and I'll share that in a minute. The protagonist has this really catchy line, and he keeps repeating his adult son will come in with the mail, and the mail is always bills. And his answer to the mail is put it back in the mailbox. And he says, don't open them, just put them back in the mailbox. And his son says, but Pop, why? Why would we do that? You haven't even read them or looked at them. And he explains, if I didn't really receive them, then I'm not responsible for them. So put them back in the mailbox. Okay, this is the last thing that you want to attempt to do with your tax documents, is to put them back in the mailbox. So just, if you get nothing else, that's what you want to get. Don't put them back in the mailbox. But especially since these forms are to help you when you're preparing to get, this is an exact science. You're putting the numbers in, and they have the numbers, they have the information, they let you know what you're eligible for and what you're responsible for. So when you don't have all that information with you, if you didn't read the information, if you didn't open the information, you're just wasting your time and spinning your wheels, and you might be causing yourself some problem down the line. And at a minimum, you might be missing out on a refund, and that might be a maximum for some people. So open the mail, see what the IRS is sending you so you can file it as easily as possible. And think of this as moving forward for next year. If you didn't do that so well this year, this is what you can do for next year. As it comes in, just put it aside, and you know that these are the things I'm going to do when I go to prepare my taxes, because organized tax records make preparing the most accurate and the easiest. It helps to avoid the errors that lead to processing and refund delays. We don't want delays in our refunds. And it's so important to have all your tax info available before filing to ensure that it is complete. And you should notify the IRS. Here's some things you should know. Notify the IRS if your address changes, and notify the Social Security Administration if you have a legal name change. These are all the things that could slow you up and make confusion, or later down the line have people asking questions. Remember, most income is taxable. I'm going to give you a list of possible documents to hold on to use for filing and record keeping. And the main thing that everybody knows, usually on even the most elementary level, is your W-2 form. That's the form that comes from your employers. It's your wage and earnings. You definitely need that form. You can get it digitally. Some people can get it digitally. It'll come in the mail to you. Hold on to that. There are forms 1099, and that comes from banks and other agencies that relate to money that you've been paid. They include unemployment compensation. Hold on to that. Interest, dividends, distributions from a pension, annuity, and your retirement plans. Have that all together when you're filing your taxes. There are other 1099 forms, 1099K, MISC, NEC. These are connected with other incomes that you have, like your part-time projects or your side jobs. You need the information from those too. And these new virtual currencies, the information that comes in the mail for you for that, you need to have all of that with you so that you don't miss a beat. And like I said, that put it back in the mail, I can attest to it personally. I'm a veteran, I'm a military spouse. We have lived all over the world. And when we were young newlyweds, my mother would call me and say, you got these tax papers here. What do I care? I got tax papers there. I'm in Italy. I'll be okay. In the beginning, that was okay because pretty much all I needed was a W-2 form. But as my family started to grow, I started getting other papers. As we started to own properties, I was getting things and I was missing things. And finally, I got a tax preparer who helped me and said, where's your stuff for your children's childcare? You're missing out on money because you're not claiming these things. So it's important to hold on to even if you don't understand it, you can take it to your tax preparer. You could take it in front of you when you're starting to file, and you'll start to see, okay, I have to fill in these blanks. That must be what this paper is for. So that's just a big keeper from all of this, is to pay attention to those papers. There are also some income documents that you can use to determine if you're eligible for deductions and credits. If you need to reconcile your advance payments or child tax credit advance payments, it's a lot of words if you're new to it, but just listen out for it, because if you are going through it, you'll be like, oh, she said something about that. I might need to pay attention to it. So if you receive the third economic impact payment and you think you qualify for an additional amount, you'll need your stimulus payment and the plus up amounts to figure out and claim the 2021 recoverable rebate credit. Connected with these credits, you should also keep end of the year documents to include. These are other documents that will come to you. The letter 6419, that's the 2021 total advanced child care credit payment to reconcile advanced child care tax payments that you got over the years. The letter 6475, that's your 2021 economic impact payment to determine eligibility for recovery rebate credit. The first two payments were received in 2020 and the last one was received the beginning of 2021. And you should have received a letter 6475 to let you know if you got it or not. And you may also be able to claim the recovery rebate credit on your 2021 if you didn't file for the third economic impact payment. Again, it's a lot of stuff if you're not familiar with it, but at least I'm getting the words in your head a little bit so that if you do go to a tax preparer, you might say, oh, this is connected with me. Or you can ask the question, is this connected with me? Because maybe I was putting it back in the mailbox and didn't realize it was connected with me. Your Form 1095A, that's the health insurance market statement. You need to have that when you go to prepare your taxes. So the IRS online account, it securely provides tax account information on irs.gov, and it helps provide important filing information. Again, whether you're filing on your own or using a trusted tax preparer, you must have the proper forms. Hold on to them. It's fine to pay a tax preparer to do your taxes. Personally, I do. When deciding how to file, you can, however, do free filing. And that's a viable option. Many people go with that. The IRS Free File Program is a public-private partnership between the IRS and tax preparation and filing software industry leaders who provide their brand name products for free. So basically, we're using their software products for free so that
Oh, I think she's having some internet connection there. Is it just me, or Priscilla, are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you fine. I think she just got frozen for a little bit.
Okay.
So,
Wow. There's
yeah,
a
so
lot of information too, so maybe it's like the energy is high right now.
yeah, and thank you everybody that's asking questions, and I'm trying to answer them as I can. But what she was explaining at the, I think, did she connect back up? Okay, probably not. Okay, so so basically, there's a lot of different options to get free filing. So we do have electronic filing options. I think that's where she left off because I was answering a question. So one of them, it's the IRS free file or fillable forms. So for the free file, if you go to IRS.
I'm sorry, Priscilla, we're having some trouble hearing you for some reason.
I'm sorry.
There you go. I can hear you now. For some reason, we didn't hear you about. Yes, we can hear you now.
No, not me too. Okay, so for people that make $73,000 and less, you are able to use the free file. It does include your state taxes, so in some of the programs you are able to claim for the state as well for free. For the fillable forms, you kind of do have to know how to file your return because you basically file the forms on your own. And that's for people that make above 73,000. With that one, the state is not included. So that's kind of something to remember with that. There is a free tax return preparer site also on irs.gov. There's also a commercial software that IRS offers. And also there's a way to find an authorized e-file provider. So all this information you're able to find. So there's no excuses that you can't file. So you should be able to find something like that in irs.gov. for a faster service, for you to get your money fast, we do recommend e-filing. And
Sorry, Priscilla. Again, I'm not sure what's wrong with the audio, but you went out. You said that you recommend e-filing, and then we lost you there.
oh no.
There you are. Now I can hear you.
Oh my goodness, is it me? I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Okay, I'm sorry, people. I'm trying. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I don't know where you guys stopped hearing me, but
You said you recommend e-filing to get the money faster.
yes, and direct deposit for the refund. It's the safest way for you to be able to get that money direct deposit into your account. To check the refund status, we always offer also the Where My Refund. If you go to irs.gov, there's also a link that you can go to, a tool that says Where is my refund, and it will ask you some personal questions, and it will let you know what's the status of your refund. If you filed e-file, it's usually available within 24 hours. If you actually mailed in a paper return, it's actually takes about 4 weeks for it to appear. Please be aware that sometimes if it doesn't pop up, your return could be rejected for some reason. There's other factors involved that it might not show up. So we have to be very cognizant about that as well. So the Free File program, as I said, it's a private public partnership between IRS and different tax preparations for software industries. And I said, that's the income levels. There's Natalia. Welcome back.
It kicked me off.
Oh, sorry about that. So I kind of took your place. I hope you don't mind.
No. So that was it. It's the Free File. I'll make it go a little faster now because I know I lost our time a bit there.
So we're in the Vita sites right now. So I kind of took your spots.
Okay, so the Vita sites are one of the free sites. If you want to go face to face and work face to face with someone to get tax preparation help, the Vita sites is volunteer income tax assistance. So you can look up the Vita sites, and also there's a TCE.
So TCE stands for the Tax Counseling for Elderly. And that is for people that are over 60 years old. There is a income limit, also a threshold for people that are requesting the Vita Sites assistance. They're volunteers that go and can file your taxes. So the income limit for that is $58,000 or less. They do ask you to bring a photo ID, a copy of your return for the last year, your social security number, and any other tax documentation that might be necessary. You could go to irs.gov to be able to access the locations of the Vita sites and make an appointment. And you can also call, and if you can get your little pen ready, that's 1-800-906-9887. And that's again to make an appointment for a Vita site. They're open now on some Saturdays. So that's a great assistance that we have seen that people definitely should take advantage of. Now we're going to go and talk about some of the available credits because I know we're so short on time. So we're going to try to squeeze this in there. So there are different types of credits to be able to claim for dependents, which is the EITC, Child Tax Credit, and the Child and Dependent Care Credit. Now I'll go ahead and let Natalia go ahead and continue with that, if that's okay with you.
Where'd you leave off?
Okay, right now we're with the Earned Income Tax Credit.
Okay, so did you give the details of the Earned Income Tax Credit?
No, not yet.
Okay, the Earned Income Tax Credit is designed for basically for low to moderate income workers to qualify with qualifying children to assist with possible reducing taxes and increasing in the refunds. Some may also qualify for it if they can't claim children on their tax on your taxes. There are details to what qualifications are. I'm going to go through them quickly. You must have worked or earned income under $57,414. Have an investment income below $10,000 in the tax year 2021. Have a valid Social Security number by the due date of your 2020 return. Be a U.S. citizen or resident alien all year, and not filed for a 2555, and that's a foreign earned income tax income. There are a few special qualifying rules for military and clergy, and that's on our site, and you can look that up on irs.gov. And since it's called earned income tax credit, let me just give you really quickly what earned credit is, what that taxable income is. Wages and salaries and tips are taxable income. Union strike benefits might be something you didn't think was. Long-term disability benefits received prior to retirement age. Net earnings from self-employment to include running your own business or a farm. Working as a minister or someplace religious. Income that's not earned, it's pay received while you were an inmate, interest and dividends, retirement income, unemployment benefits, and child support. And you can, for this year, you can use child support from 2019 as the earned income. There are some temporary changes that are on our site. I'm going to give you one of the main ones. Is the minimum age for taxpayers without qualifying children has been lowered from 25 to 19. So there's no longer a maximum age limit, which means more people can qualify for this credit. And also, I'd like to share with you that qualified former foster and homeless youth who are at least 18 by December 31st are now eligible for EITC. And your students, specified students, and really it's pretty much full-time students, 24 years or older can now qualify. And that makes a big difference for them. For the sake of time, I'm going to keep moving through what I want to share with you. We have other child tax credits. We have the CTC tax credit, which is partially refundable credit that allows low and moderate income families to reduce their tax liability dollars. Again, that's on the site. And the child and dependent care credit is the last credit I wanted to mention. And if you want to see if you apply, if that applies to you, you can check that on our site as well. So all of these are on irs.gov. I would have gone through them with more detail for you, but my technical difficulties threw it off. But basically, the 4 key components that I was lining up for you can be used to either get yourself together.
Oh, right at our time. Actually, I was gonna hop in and say we are actually at our time. So I know that more folks might have had more questions. I see more questions coming up in the chat. Priscilla, how can folks connect with you all if they do have some questions following this conversation today?
If it's okay with you, Mariela, if they can actually send you the questions, and we would be more than happy to actually just write them down, get that information for you if they're general enough. And then that way we can assist them. We will be having another presentation based on our conversation that we had probably in a couple more months, and we can definitely address those questions you guys had as well.
Great, great. And so again, websites or social medias or just ways to connect after this conversation as we're ending right now.
IRS.gov has all the information. And again, we want to thank you so much for having us here and be able to, in this short amount of time, to be able to give you all this information.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And no worries about the technical difficulties. It happens to the best of us. And we really appreciate, the wealth of knowledge that you're sharing today. And I just invite everyone to go to the website and also stay tuned for all the upcoming chats. As Priscilla said, they're going to be coming back. So look out for that and mark your calendars. Thank you, everyone, and good luck this season with